Public sector versus the private sector. According to the U.S. Department of State, consular officers are strategic thinkers and crisis managers who protect U.S. citizens and interests abroad. In the public sector, consular officers work with local officials to facilitate business, educational, and tourist travel. They work to strengthen our border security in order to protect Americans. They help citizens in emergencies and evacuations. They monitor security issues that threaten the safety of Americans who are traveling abroad. Lawyers in the private sector generally make more money than lawyers who work for the government. This is due to something known as billable hours. Lawyers who work in the private sector are able to bill their clients by the total number of hours. This in turn generates the revenue for a law firm, which pays the salary of the lawyer. For example, in the public sector, those who are working in, say, the executive branch earn an average of $129,000 per year, whereas those working in the private sector earn an average of $187,000 per year. In the private sector, it is experience, firm size, and location that determines the size of the lawyer's salary. In general, the private sector is usually comprised of organizations run by individuals and groups who seek to generate and return a profit back to its owners. The gross domestic product of a country represents the final value of all goods and services produced in a period of time. As of 2004, 89.46% of the private sector contributed to the United States' total GDP. There are many pros and cons of both the public sector and the private sector. The pros of working in the public sector are that they are able to serve people from all around the country. Consular officers can feel valuable in the fact that they protect U.S. citizens and our borders. We are safe in our homes because of these officers. Some cons of working for the public sector is that it's a lot of responsibility on one's shoulders. And there's often a lot of time dedicated to serve the people with very little recognition. There's a lot of work and responsibility which is not compensated nearly enough through salary. The pros of working as a lawyer in the private sector is the salary that comes with it. You always get what you put in. So if you were to work overtime with a client, you're always getting paid for those hours. The cons of working as a lawyer in the private sector is that your salary is directly affected by your location. Lawyers in big cities earn about 22% more of those who work in smaller cities. And for a lawyer working in the private sector, they are given the opportunity to fight for what they believe is justice, and that's always a pro. Motivation for the public sector. I believe that it is a calling for an individual who works in the public sector. Someone who chooses this pathway they're ready to dedicate their life and to serve others, basically. They want to make a difference, and they want to be that difference. For example, my image shows some workers who state, "It was an honor to work with my fellow colleagues on the evacuation from Libya. We appreciated the positive tone and support of everyone involved." So these people took time out of their own lives to help others in evacuation. Money is definitely a big motivational factor for those who chose the pathway of the private sector. For these individuals, it's less of a desire to be in a position that serves people and more to serve their family by income. For example, my image. This is a Rhode Island average pay and benefits for public and private workers. You can see the gap in the pay and benefits between the two. When it comes to choosing a pathway, before deciding, it's important to review the pros and cons of both the private and public sectors. For the private sector, there's unlimited jobs, unsecure, unlimited workday, unlimited age of services. For the public sector, there's limited jobs, secure jobs, limited times and days, limited age of services. So it's important to always do your research, and everyone has a different pathway that they need to go down. So it's important that you choose the one that fits you best.